Welcome back to DHD Racing Podcast. I'm Daniella and I'm here with Darine and Holly. So last week we missed an upload because we are all very busy at uni and I also have concussion. Yay! I'm gonna
Yay for concussion.
Yay for concussion. I'm gonna do a little shout out. Shout out to Lewis for pushing me over during rehearsal and giving me concussion. Yay, it's so slay. Lewis, I actually love you.
If he's
But
if
it
he's
did
watching.
hurt. But yeah, it did hurt, but it's fine. We're still friends. So today we're gonna be talking about Baku and Miami and maybe a little bit of pop culture F1 related things. So yeah, if I take long to think, I say things wrong. My brain's not fully working, so please do not judge. I am trying. I still wanted to get an episode out this week, so I'm here. I might just say some things wrong, but we'll start off with Baku.
Yeah.
I had high hopes for this. I love Baku as a track. I have never been so disappointed.
It's got such a good history for having good, entertaining races. And then this one came around and I was just watching it going like, is something gonna happen in this race? Like, and it was the same situation of like, there's like 15 minutes, Max and Checo are like streaking off into the distance, and you're like, well, I've seen
There
this
we
before.
go.
I've seen this race before. Like, yeah, I was disappointed. I was hoping for another like Daniel Max crash into each other drama.
Something, yeah.
Wasn't to be.
No, not to be. But Checo won, so that was nice.
was
That's a
just
bit
gonna
more
mention that.
refreshing. A bit more
That was-
refreshing than
yeah.
having Max.
He really is holding on to that title of King of the Streets, and I love that for him because
Yes.
I love that whole idea of somebody like the kind of like mythology that you can build up behind a thing like that of like if you're on a street circuit and you're behind Perez, you're not getting past. Like the man has got this. I love that for him. I loved seeing how close him and Max were afterwards, points wise, because that's the only like challenge that there even is.
That's the only remotely exciting battle happening right now.
I'd be so excited if Checo won it, or if Checo was able to keep up a fight the whole way through. It'd be like Hamilton and Rosberg.
I'd love to see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Not just like last year where it was settled like 6 weeks early. Yeah, I really hope Checo can do this again because it was nice to see.
I believe in him. If it's going to be anyone else that isn't Max, like it should be Checo. If it's going to be a Red Bull, I'd rather it be Checo. Max has had enough winning.
Add some variety in there, especially since poor old Ferrari and Charles Leclerc are not quite able this year to put the challenge.
Charles was on the podium.
He got on the podium.
He got on the podium. I was so happy.
Like a moment of hope.
Do you want to know a sad fact though? Charles Leclerc has completed the least amount of laps of any other driver this season so far.
No,
is that was before Miami. Yeah, that was before Miami, but I think after Miami that probably still is the case because I don't think anyone DNF'd in Miami, but I can't remember.
No one did.
Oh my god. I mean, like,
that reminded me.
Is that to do with the reliability of the car, or were those DNFs his mistakes? Like, was him DNFing because of the car, like going
quite
wrong?
A few of them were because of the car, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, that's clearly reliability issues.
One maybe that was him, but I can't remember. Because I think he has made mistakes this season. What I was going to say was, I think I read somewhere that like this is the first time we have had drivers all finish a race since a race in 2021, but I can't remember what it was.
It's been a long time.
Wow.
There has been a race without any DNFs.
That's insane. I didn't realize it had been that long.
Yeah.
But now I think about it, DNFs are super common in Formula One. Like it's quite rare like that as a sport. But it's just totally normal for like, oh, he's out. So I was just thinking it is interesting that this season, Charles Leclerc, from what I know, has had a few good qualifying results that haven't translated into the same race results. So even though maybe Carlos Sainz hasn't had the same rate as that, it seems like the Ferraris got some like, one, reliability issues, two, race pace issues would be my
Definitely
judgment of them this year. And then obviously the Red Bull is just perfect in every single area, apart from the upshifts that Max Verstappen keeps complaining about every single race, despite
every
winning
time.
them easily. So yeah.
I don't think he should complain about anything. I think he should say thank you guys and just move on. I don't think when you're winning by like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, however, I don't think you should complain about anything in your life. I think you should enjoy your life.
Maybe that's probably part of the reason why he's so good, though, is that if he is so on it every time there's something wrong.
That is
but then
true.
I can't imagine any of the other drivers are softer. Like if there's something wrong in the car,
Exactly.
they're going to be like,
They're going to be like, oh, it's fine. No, of course not. So, but yeah.
Was there anything else interesting that happened at Baku?
Well, I wanted to talk about like the sprint. So it was a sprint weekend, but the sprint was a bit different because Pirelli said they didn't have enough tires for every team. So they changed the sprint. So we had the sprint shootout. Sprint shootout. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
You're probably
I can't remember. So they had the sprint shootout on the Saturday, which was like a qualifying for the sprint before the sprint happened. So let's just recap the weekend. So Friday we had FP1, then qualifying for the actual race. Then we had Saturday a sprint shootout, which is basically qualifying for the sprint, and then we had the sprint, and then on Sunday we had the race. So the sprint, usually when it's a sprint weekend, the sprint usually determines the starting grid for the race. It did not this time, and the drivers only kind of got the points, but the points, like, it wasn't going to be beneficial for teams that weren't the top 4 teams. So really, what was kind of the point? I'm not sure. I still have lots of questions around it.
I prefer the old layout because I know that some of the drivers were complaining about the sprints anyway, because obviously you have to go and risk your car in this sprint before the race and you might end up losing places. So I get why they don't like them anyway. But if you are going to put them in for entertainment value, I feel like having the sprint determine the starting order for the race adds that little bit of unpredictability to it, and it means that maybe some of those, if something goes wrong for one of the front runners of the teams, like if their car has a failure on the sprint day, one of those back marker teams might be able to get up into a way higher starting spot than they would normally. Like when that time that Kevin Magnussen got a pole, or you know what I mean. People getting to start in places they wouldn't normally because of the race format. I feel less inclined to watch the sprints now because it's just for points and I can go and check that on my phone anyway if I want to, especially with exams going on at the moment. It's much easier for me to be like, nah, it's not as big of a deal. So I feel like the way they did it before, it meant that everything was nice and streamlined. It all fed into each other, whereas now it's just this confusing mess of like qualifying and then another qualifying and then a race but not an actual race. Like I don't like it as much.
Then we also had some drama between George and Max during the sprint. So we had, well, I don't know how to kind of describe it. I guess George made a dent. Well, it wasn't quite a dent. It was a hole.
Did they collide?
Because I saw the aftermath of whatever happened, but because I didn't watch the sprint, I didn't actually see the incident on track that they were talking about.
So what I think happened is that George, they were going around a corner, I think. I can't really remember. It's been a while. They kind of like touched each other, and George made a hole in Max's side, and Max got really angry. But it was fine because Max still did well in the race. So no penalty, I think, was awarded to George. But after the race, they kind of were a bit angry. Well, George was angry no, Max was angry. George was
Max
kind
was
of like,
angry.
yeah, Max was angry. George was kind of like confused, thinking he thought that Max was going to come over and be like, "Oh, nice battle," and then he just got screamed and shouted at by Max and was kind of like, "Well,
Right.
that's not what I was expecting."
Did you see what George said when he was like, "Oh, it's a bit pathetic, really." What he was.
Yeah.
It was a very cutting but emotionally controlled response. It was a very British response, I thought,
Very.
to criticism of like just very cutting, but it said very like
It's like you know when they go, "I'm not being funny," and then they
Yeah.
absolutely destroy you. It was exactly that.
Yeah.
He just goes, "Well, it was a bit pathetic, really," and then lists like a billion different. It was brilliant. And I think he had a point. You know, if you're gonna give it, you're gonna have to know how to take it as well.
I think that's the thing that people were saying, is that obviously Max isn't quite as aggressive of a driver as he was when he was younger, but he is known for that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
And George clearly wasn't doing it out of malice. I think you can tell that. Like, he was doing it because he's competitive. That's what they do. Like, it wasn't. I feel like I've seen Max make moves that came across as more dangerous and more like obviously kind of. Ooh. So I don't know. It was like an interesting little interaction between the two of them, especially when Max is so far ahead at this point.
Right.
Anyway, it's not like he was at risk of having his championship severely damaged. So yeah, it was an interesting little battle there. Off-track battle.
Is there anything else that happened at Baku?
Not
I genuinely don't think there was. I think that was it. Like, it was such a bog standard normal race.
Yeah.
Nick de Vries stopped on track, but I was thinking of mentioning Nick a bit later on.
We'll get on to Nick. Should we move on to Miami?
We'll move on to Miami.
Yes.
So
I want to ask you guys.
Wait,
I want to ask you.
Ocon. Guys, Ocon.
Oh my god, Ocon in the pit lane. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Ocon, oh my god.
Oh my god, that was probably
How did we forget that?
That was probably the most exciting part of the weekend.
That was the one like noticeable thing that happened during that entire race, and we forgot it. Oh my god! Someone start the clown music, please.
Honestly,
I have an excuse. I have an excuse. You guys don't have an excuse.
We don't. Well, I remembered it, so.
No, okay, so it's me then. I've got nothing. All right, bye guys.
I literally have notes. I have notes, and on my notes it says Ocon pit lane.
Okay. Are we gonna cut this out, or are we keeping?
Let's keep this in. Let's be real.
No, we're keeping this in.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So, as we coming into the final lap of the race, Ocon needed to pit because he hadn't pitted yet. So well done for lasting that long on tyres, Ocon. I feel like that part wasn't spoken about. So let's just take a moment to appreciate Ocon for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
But then Ocon came into the pits, and because people thought, oh, it's the end of the race.
Oh, we'll be fine. No one's coming in now.
Photographers and media personnel on track. Yeah, they were in the pits. Ocon's coming through. These people have to jump out of the way because they're right in the path of Ocon.
They were literally across the whole. They didn't even leave a little bit of space. They were across the whole thing, and they took forever to get out of the way as well.
Yeah,
they ran away at the very last second.
To be fair, Ocon could have slowed down. He could have slowed down, and maybe a tad. But also, they shouldn't have been there. And
exactly,
that's the FIA's fault. Or
also the fact that because the commentary crew, the commentators had clocked that this was a problem, maybe 5 minutes before it happened. They knew that Ocon was going to have to pit the whole way through the commentary. They've been going on about it for ages, to the point where watching it, I'd been like, okay, yeah, we all know that Ocon has to pit. Can we talk about something else? And then Ted Kravitz is noticing all of the people coming across the pit lane. He is frantic about it, and then there's still another 3 minutes before Ocon actually comes in and it all sort of goes down. So it's how did none of them know this? Surely the teams should have known. The rest of the pit crews should have been able to be oh, Ocon's not come in yet. And also, it's not even the end of the race. Surely they have a rule where it's like,
That's the thing. I was
I
gonna
don't know
say
how it
that.
works.
I was gonna
Surely
say
you
that
shouldn't
there
be doing
must
that
be a
if the race
rule.
is still going anyway. Because even if somebody hasn't pitted, if there's like a fault in the car on the last lap and someone needs to drive into the pits instead of finishing that could happen,
There
couldn't it?
must
And
be
if there's
safety
people all over
regulations in
I don't
place
know.
that would prevent something like this happening. There has to be some sort of rule, regulation saying nobody should be on the track, on the pit lane in any way until the race is over. That there's no way that isn't a rule. There's no way. I can't believe that. The
Yeah,
fact
it's
they
sort
took
of
so long to run away as well. They see him coming from all the way, and they wait until he's right in front of them to run away.
It did sort of blow my mind a bit.
Yeah.
They do not fear their lives for their lives.
Okay, shall I move on to Miami?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go on to Miami.
Now we're ready.
So I've heard about these entrances that the drivers made. Again,
God.
I got back just in time from the library to catch the race, so I didn't see these entrances. Please describe them to me. I want to hear what happened because they sound insane.
The funniest thing ever. I didn't watch it like live, but I've been seeing all the clips and they uploaded a video to YouTube. It is the funniest thing ever. You have LL Cool J doing, and like some of the introductions are like serious, like actually about their racing, and some of them are just a comment on the driver. Like they literally introduced Yuki as he may be small in stature, blah blah blah. Like some of them are actually serious. Some of them are like, oh, this like 7-time winner, something, whatever. I don't know. I don't remember.
So Lewis got a serious one, I assume.
I don't remember. I can't lie. I don't remember.
Lewis got a hug.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
A lot of them were very unserious. It is the funniest thing ever.
I mean, what are you guys?
Joking. You should have seen Max's face. A lot of people were joking. If Max retires, this will be why. Because if he has to go through that again, he's out. It was very unserious. And exactly what you'd expect from Miami.
Yeah.
It was great. I loved it.
I mean, I've seen a lot of people like saying that they don't like this kind of stuff. There's like really sensationalist stuff. It does kind of go against that whole very, very classy, very European feel that F1 has a lot of the time. It's very American. It's very NASCAR.
Was very much, yeah.
What do you guys think
from Miami?
Yeah, Daniela, what do you think of it? Because you've been a fan a little bit longer. Do you feel like it's that kind of stuff is too much?
I'm still getting used to it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you're there, it would be quite cool. But I don't particularly like Miami's track anyway. So I don't particularly I look forward to kind of the atmosphere and like knowing that Daniel was going to be there. I was kind of like, okay, I can kind of look forward to this. But I feel like I like the more classy, like old 1950s.
That is like the vibe.
And this is the complete opposite. And I feel like I'm trying to get used to it. Because like
you want the drivers. Sorry.
It's okay.
You go.
If I was like, if a race was to sum up my personality, it probably would be Miami. Because I am crazy and sometimes out of this world, and yeah. But also I prefer kind of like Silverstone and like more like Monaco. And I don't really particularly like Monaco as a track, but like that kind of atmosphere is kind of what the vibe is what I kind of prefer. I'm still adapting to the American style of everything that's happening. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say you want the drivers to still be there in like the loose shirts and like the still wearing like all their watches and stuff, just sitting in the car like fully out of the cockpit.
Absolutely. That's what I want
think Vegas is gonna be like bigger than Miami, I think.
I was just gonna say that Vegas is gonna be even better / worse.
They're gonna go nuts
depending on how 100%. You look at it.
I think Vegas will just give me a concussion just by watching it through a screen. I don't even need to be there.
All of those colors.
Yeah.
All of those long straight lines, just one after the other.
Oof, what a fun race.
I feel like
Yeah,
I could
but
I
yeah.
could design a more interesting track than that by just like getting some string and throwing it on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
now is not the time to
Valid.
discuss Vegas. That's coming up later.
That's
Coming up
yeah,
later.
Yeah.
that's a whole other episode.
So
Okay. Should we
yeah,
actually talk about
Daniela, lead us on.
the actual race now?
Yeah,
Mhm.
what?
So Red Bull dominance again.
Mhm.
We had
As
Checo
expected.
on pole, right? We did, didn't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Checo's on pole, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah.
Or was it
Because
Charles?
no, Charles crashed out and was P7 in
Oh
qualifying.
yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Sorry,
He
that was a
crashed out
different
at the
one.
last 2 minutes of qualifying.
Yeah.
And then we had Checo on pole. Max started ninth, but we all knew that immediately he was going to be back up there.
Yeah.
I think
15 minutes it took, or
Yeah.
like 15 laps, I think it took him
Yeah.
to get back
It
up.
really didn't take him long.
No. But like I feel like we're all like, oh, Max, but hats off to him because he is doing well, and I know that like,
It's
the
very
car is
impressive.
good, but like it is impressive. Like it is good. It's like when, do you remember? Oh, you guys might have not watched it back then. I think it was 2021.
Bit before
It was
my
during
time.
a sprint. It was during a sprint, and basically, I think it was Brazil 2021. Lewis went
Is this
from
Lewis?
yeah,
I do know
and like
this. I
he
do
went
know
up
this.
and he really impressively went up the field like during, I think it was during a sprint, but I can't really remember. Because he had to start from the back of the grid for
Yes.
a penalty. I can't really remember. Yeah, and that was really impressive. And I feel like the same thing with Max. Like, it is really impressive, and I feel like we do need to appreciate that. I know not everyone's a Max fan, but he is a fantastic driver, and I do think we need to
Mhm.
So just PSA Max, you're a great driver.
As Max's biggest not fan, you have to give it to him. It's so
Yeah.
impressive. Like if it was anyone else, everyone would be cheering.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
you have to give it to Max, you know.
We do.
Yeah.
So Holly, I think you know a bit more about this than I do. The Max and Checo getting different information again. Do you want to kind of take us through that?
So I didn't see like too much of it. When it was something more that the commentators were saying, so there may have been some stuff that's come out that maybe is correcting this. I don't know. But when I was watching, they were talking to somebody who's down in the pit lane who's basically saying that, or who'd been listening to the pit wall information and the race engineers, and was saying that Max was chasing Checo in that last section. Max had been getting loads of information from his race engineer on Checo's race and on like the timings, that he would need to do. You know, this is what you need to do, catch up Checo, all this stuff. And Checo was not being told any of the same stuff. And they described him. I remember this. They used the phrase "Checo's driving blind," basically, which seems like a pretty stark difference, considering that he was leading that race for quite a way of it. You'd think as the driver you would want to know where your closest competitor was at like all times. So I just thought that was interesting, and especially because that dynamic has happened before in other races where Checo's been leading, and then we found out that they were telling him different things to Max, or that Max was getting more information, or that they were telling. There was one where they told, I think, Checo to aim for a 33, like a time of 33 or something, and then found out that they were telling Max to do a second quicker. So little things like that I just keep doing, which I just think is interesting.
Can't be a coincidence.
I might be reading into it, but yeah, it's an interesting, like, clearly there's like a dynamic going on there. Whatever it is.
Only time will tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still pretty close. Like the Checo is constantly on Max's heels so far. Like they've not opened up a gap really. So if Checo were to win the next two races, he'd be ahead. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
So someone who was my driver of the day, or really my driver of the weekend, was Kevin Magnussen. I thought he did a fantastic job over the weekend.
He did.
I wanted to talk about him. He started fourth in qualifying. He had some fantastic battles throughout the race. I think he had a good battle with Hamilton, which is crazy to think that a Haas was fighting Mercedes, but it was it was good
No.
fun to watch. That was quite an exciting part of the race. I forgot to mention that another exciting part of the race actually was between Max and Checo. Max overtook Checo, and it looked like Checo was gonna overtake Max. He didn't quite make it, but I was with my friends, and we were all like, "Oh my god!" And then it didn't quite happen, but that was quite interesting to watch. But yeah, going back to K Mag, very very impressed. We all sat there and we all have to wait for K Mag driver of the day. Yeah.
Definitely. I was so impressed by that. And I've said before that I love K-Mag. I want all the best things for him. So I was very happy to see him like up there fighting away in the top 10. It was super cool.
Yeah, very impressive.
Yeah. I guess another team we should probably shout out is Alpine. Both of them finished in
Just about to
points.
say.
They are now, I think, I could be completely wrong, but I think they're level on points with McLaren in the championship. I think Pierre was just having quite a strong weekend. He was starting 5th in qualifying, I believe. So that was good to see them doing well. We know that they've struggled a little bit this year, more towards the end of races, unfortunately. They seem to kind of do okay, and then it gets to the end of a race and everything just goes wrong. So I'm glad that they were both Ocon and Gasly were in the points.
Yeah.
So I feel like, does anyone else have anything to say related to the race? Or shall we move on to a little pop culture
Yeah.
section?
Let's do pop culture.
so.
I can't think of anything else.
Culture?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I was gonna say Daniel and Yuki.
Daniel and Yuki, we had a long break.
Of the weekend.
We had a long break. So there's been a lot that happened, kind of pop culture wise. There's been stuff that happened at Baku, stuff that happened at Miami. So let's start off with Daniel and Yuki this weekend.
My highlights of the weekend.
New dream duo.
I did not know that I needed this duo, but I love them so much.
It's the replacement of Pierre and Yuki that we never thought we were going to get. But
Exactly.
it's arrived.
We didn't even know we needed this.
I have a question for you. Nick de Vries doesn't seem to be kind of meeting everyone's expectations. Do you think we could potentially see Daniel at AlphaTauri?
Oh, I'd not considered that.
I was just about to say that did not occur to me until this second.
I don't think Daniel would take it, but I have a feeling it might be offered to him.
I don't know, man.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. If he'd made up his mind he wanted to go back, because none of the top teams are losing anyone anytime soon. So it's going to be sort of Alpine standard below. I don't know. I would not be surprised at all if that happens now that you've said it. And
it makes sense.
Yeah. I would be sad to see Nick de Vries go because I do like him, but I would not be sad to see Daniel there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it's just me, but I also don't. I don't see a lot of content of Nick and Yuki together.
Not that much.
I don't think they have the same to be fair, they seem to like each other enough. I feel like it's just that kind of like camera chemistry that sort of Pierre and Yuki were able to pull out, and then also Daniel and Yuki is kind of rare, I think, in a duo. Like there are plenty of duos that you think are going to be like dynamite on camera, and then you get them together, and they're not.
Talking of Daniel, Daniel went to the Met Gala.
He did. Absolute fashion icon. I was so happy to see that. That was so exciting.
Anne Hathaway. I didn't know that was what I needed to see.
Oh wow!
Love those photos.
I know.
Oh, just Anne Hathaway doing her goddess thing, and then Daniel in the background, like.
I know. I saw that
so
clip of him being like, "No, go ahead." Oh my god! Wow.
It was such good vibes.
And that clip of her saying, "Oh, I love F1." I did not know that I needed to see them interacting. Changed my life. Yeah. Honestly. Wow.
I guess the biggest news that kind of was well, I say news, it was the biggest rumor that had been occurring for a couple
of It's real to me.
One of the biggest rumors going around was Taylor Swift and Fernando Alonso. Now, Holly and I, we are big Swifties, aren't we? And so we quite liked this. We wanted this to continue, but now it's rumored that Taylor is with Matty Healy, which I don't appreciate as much. I want Taylor and Alonso to be a thing.
Yeah, it was my favorite thing because I've spoken to you about this, how it sort of started amongst the F1 community as something that was a joke and was so clearly, so obviously a joke. Like everybody saw it immediately and was like, "Oh, that's a funny joke." And then the Swifties saw it, who weren't watching F1 and thought it was real.
Yeah.
And then they started tweeting about it. And then the media sees it, picks it up and runs with it like it's real. And then my mum is sending me messages like going, "Holly, have you heard about Taylor Swift and Fernando Alonso?" And I'm like, "Mum, that's not real."
And then they start asking the drivers about.
Yeah.
And they start making Taylor Swift references. The commentators start making Taylor, and it got out of hand.
And Fernando Alonso starts using karma in TikTok because everyone's going, "He's confirmed it, he's confirmed." And then all of the F1 fan community is just sitting here like going, what have we done?
When did this happen? What literally, what have we done?
It was my favorite thing. I loved it. And I loved the editing. Did you see people do like edited photos of them together? Like,
oh my god.
They cracked me up every single time.
It feels like Nicki Minaj and Tom Holland all over again.
It was so good. I wanted it to be real so bad. But yeah, that's what the internet is for, in my opinion. Exactly. It was just fun times. Oh, I love that so much.
Man. So to end this episode, because we've only got 5 minutes left, I wanted to ask your opinions on the Tart influencer event. I don't really know what to call it. Holly, do you know about this?
So this seems to be, I don't know a huge amount. This seems to be a Miami thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Explain it a little bit to me.
So basically, Tart decided that they were going to have an event at Formula One and invite some influencers as part of their branding, marketing, that kind of thing. But people got very angry because out of all of the influencers invited, only one of them was an F1 fan and the others didn't know anything about F1. They didn't know the names of the teams. They were going to be working with Alfa Romeo and they didn't even know how to say Alfa Romeo.
They called it Alfa Romero.
Yeah. And they a lot of F1 content creators got upset because 99% of F1 fans won't go to a race. It's facts. The sport is way too expensive. And people got upset because they would have liked the opportunity to go to Miami. And unfortunately, it did create this jealousy background. And unfortunately, I feel like it has shed F1 content creators in a bad light because now people just see us as jealous. And I understand where people are coming from. Like, I am jealous as well. If I was in Miami, I probably wouldn't have concussion right now. I'd rather have been there than doing what I'm doing. But I think also we kind of need to take in consideration that we kind of weren't the demographic for we are, but some of us do beauty stuff on TikTok. I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about other F1 content creators. And it could have been a great way to have shown female F1 fans into sport, and that there are women out there who do enjoy the sport. And instead, I feel like the twisted narrative made it seem like, oh, females know nothing about the sport. We've just brought some females on, and they don't know anything. And it just again it just makes women just seem bad again. But I do think that as content creators, we do need to be careful and not kind of start hating on other content creators. It wasn't the other influencers.
That's what I was going to say.
It was the brand not doing their research. It wasn't the influencers' fault, and we shouldn't attack them. Yeah.
That's the thing. My 2 comments are it's not the influencer's fault, but also my second comment is that it's not that they didn't know about F1, it's that they didn't care to know about F1. Like they didn't care to look anything up before, that's my thing. It's okay, I'm jealous, but that's like realistically, I know that's not something that I'm going to be able to go to. It's just that they have this opportunity and they don't care to do
Yeah.
a little bit of research.
Take the
That's
most,
you
get the
know,
most out of it.
Yeah.
It's like,
exactly.
and there's loads of like F1 sort of creators online who'll do like fashion themed stuff,
Yeah.
like what I'd wear to this Grand Prix. So if you're looking for that, there are people there who can bring that who will but still know about the sport,
Yeah.
as opposed to people who or even just have more of a mix rather than making it literally be like the whole bunch of people you've invited.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
knowing anything
Yeah.
about it.
Definitely.
But yeah.
And if there's anything
Yeah.
you like from the pit stop drama, do your research.
Mhm.
That's all I'm
Exactly.
gonna say. On that note, I think we should probably wrap it up. Otherwise, we'll be
Yeah.
here for England talking about this topic because I know it's something that all
Yeah.
three of us are passionate about.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.